Love me or hate me, I think something that we can all agree upon, irrefutably, is that getting shot would suck. Now that said, there's one argument to that, and that's if you didn't know that you got shot. I would like to point out our friend in Texas who took one to the head with 357 SIG. And really quickly to touch on that, how random that cartridge was the one that was used. When was the last time anyone even thought of that cartridge? And it was like, firearms instructor, SIG, and single shot drop with 357 SIG from quite a good distance. Good on you. Energy, foot-pounds, terminal ballistics, all of that nonsense aside, he connected with his round and it dropped dude flat. If you guys saw the video, it was a single shot, the guy fell to the ground, he was done. Another thing to point out is that guy was in fact a firearms instructor. So he spent a lot of time shooting, something that each and every one of you should do, budget allowing. Now really quickly, just because it's kind of fun to do, let's touch on ballistics. The cartridge that I choose to carry more often than not in pretty much all circumstances except for work is 9mm. More specifically, the 124 grain Federal HST plus P. This cartridge not only expands extremely reliably, but it puts out 396 foot-pounds of energy, which is just shy of the 45 variant in standard pressure. This, of course, being the FNX 45 Tactical. So this is only clocking in at 404 foot-pounds energy, just a little bit shy of 9mm. 45, 9mm. Why 45? Well, first and foremost, it is subsonic. So through a can, it is quiet. Secondly, if it's the middle of the night, I don't really have my bearings about me, I might not be able to get that great of a shot. So if you're not expecting that one hit drop, and something I would like to point out is if that gentleman who took that shot from X amount of yards away with the 357 SIG, if that was 22 WMR, that guy would have dropped pretty much the same. And you can debate that all you want. That guy took a round to the CNS and he was shut down immediately. Don't care what the cartridge is, if you make that connection, it's going to work. The only other thing that you have to rely upon is exsanguination, and that is somebody bleeding out. How long does it take for somebody to bleed out? Far too effing long if they're shooting at you, is the answer. So, bigger bullet, bigger hole, bigger wound to bleed from. Again, roll in the 45 ACP. So again, 9mm, 396 foot-pounds of energy, 45 ACP, and this is an HST standard pressure. This is just 404. Not just, but 404. So just a little bit more than A plus P 9mm. Jump up from that, and a lot of people use it for home defense, is the 5.56. And this comes right around an average of 1,300 foot-pounds of energy. So 3 times the power of a 9mm. This is obviously a great option, so long as you don't have to worry about over-penetration. I would not always bank on 5.56, and I don't care what cartridge, fragmenting. Sometimes it doesn't. Sometimes it zips straight through somebody. Sometimes it does what it's supposed to do in fragments or bounces around, but not always. And if you wanted to go 300 blackout, bedside gun, again, you're looking at right around the same, maybe a little bit more. The 125 grain SIG OTM is clocking in at right around 1,350 foot-pounds of energy. A lot of people joke and make memes about it, and yes, it would be a ridiculous gun to use, but let's pretend you chose the 50 AE. You guys notice this gun barely fits in my hand? Like, my fourth finger, my pinky is overhanging the magwell. Anyways, this comes in at right around 1,600 foot-pounds of energy. So, yeah, beats the 5.56, but you're going to have over-penetration like crazy. And if you're going to go a step further, being ultra crazy, here we have the 500 Smith & Wesson Magnum. And these range anywhere from 2,000 to 2,800 foot-pounds of energy on average. But again, this is going to be one of those guns that's going to be way more than you could ever possibly need, and you are seriously risking over-penetration and hurting somebody you did not intend to. So if we are relying on blowing pieces of people off or chopping parts off of your assailant, great options, sure. But again, you're lobbing a 250 to 300 grain pill or up to a 500 or 750 grain pill at somebody that is going to decimate them, yes, but it's going to continue going and hurt somebody. So if we want pure and raw force without over-penetration, worrying about our neighbors and people miles away, obviously these are going to be ridiculous options. A great option, as you know, in the box, 12 gauge. There are a lot of drawbacks to a lot of shotguns, and a lot of those drawbacks are the same that we battle with 22. No, not the lack of power, but reliability. I'm going to say this, and it's going to ruffle a lot of feathers, but a lot of semi-auto shotguns are inherently unreliable. If I'm going to base my life on a shotgun, if it's not, and again, I'm going to ruffle feathers, if it's not a Benelli M2 or a Benelli M4, chances are I'm not going to trust it much. So that leaves us with pump shotguns. Here we have the DP12. Really great option so long as you get used to using it and understand the battery of arms. And then my wife's bedside gun. And don't ask me why her light is on here like this. I guess she probably just didn't want to put a rail on the side. Which, whatever. I mean, this works. So it kind of goes without saying, by the way, this is an extremely heavy gun, that I am a fan of bullpups and I'm a fan of shotguns. So one of the big contenders on the market right now is IWI's TS12. Of course, as soon as I heard that there was going to be a 12 gauge Tavor, I was like, sign me up, find me one now. It took a while, but I finally got my hands on one. And on to the unboxing. First and foremost, getting this out of here first. Let's see what they give us with the gun. I am seeing manuals already. IWI sticker, manual, just stapled together paper. I'm not here for the manual. Seems like it would have, yeah, everything that you would probably need to know. Full breakdown of the bolt, IWI zipper pull, gigantic chamber flag. It's kind of funny to see. And they give us accessories. Here we have a choke tube wrench. Actually looks to be of semi-quality. A choke tube. I'm gonna guess this is going to be either standard or modified. It doesn't say, but cool to know that you can in fact use different choke tubes should you decide to not just have a cylinder tube. Oh, there's our cap, I guess. Cool. 2 QDs, and that's it for the box. And on to the shotgun itself. So, this looks a lot bigger and heavier and heftier than the DP12, but it is not at all. This is a really heavy gun, and there is some benefit to that, obviously, in the fact that, you know, heavy gun with an actual aluminum, complete aluminum receiver is going to absorb a hell of a lot more recoil than something that's almost purely polymer. So this is probably going to be not super great to shoot, but this is semi-auto, this is pump. So you are getting a lot of recoil directly into your shoulder because you have nothing absorbing any of that inertia. Whereas with the semi-auto, you have, well, a recoil system. So you load 5 rounds into each tube, and there is in fact a chamber for loading on each side. I don't think Tim pointed that out when he was doing his video. So you have 3 tubes holding a total of 15 rounds. Something else he didn't point out is how awkwardly high this charging handle is. So over bore, it's like insanely high. However, it takes 0 effort to pull back. So the school of thought here on this gun, and can you guess what I'm gonna do with this charging handle? Raw. Oh, and another thing, you can use, stay in frame, your charging handle to change your gas setting. I don't know which is which. Low and high. Low is up, high is down. Another thing you guys hated me for, amongst many, is pointing out that any form of charging handle, in my opinion, should be on the AK side. Think about any gun that you've ever shot that has a charging handle that isn't an AR-15 style claw. Okay, just really quick. So in general, this is where we're used to charging weapons from. So, I'm not going to change my battery of arms on a shotgun just because this came out of the box on the other side. For me, this is where shotguns are charged from. It's natural. If you want it on the left-hand side, go for it. So we have a cross-block safety, exactly the same on a KSG. Said it a million times, I don't really care too much. Well, this is my safety. If I don't want my gun to go off, I don't pull the trigger. Okay, so checking our chamber, we are clear. Okay, so we're empty. Again, the whole gun's empty, but I'm gonna tell you guys right now, for a shotgun, this has a pretty acceptable trigger. And again, price point, we get a semi-auto that's just a couple $100 more than a KSG. So what specifically makes this gun cool or unique? Well, bolts lock back because we just shot our last round. Boom, just fired our last shot. Now this top tube is empty. Push forward with your index finger and rotate your cylinder until it clicks, and when you get to that cylinder, if it was actually full, the bolt would have went home, and you continue firing those 5 rounds, bolt locks back, rotate again, so on and so on. So you have 15 rounds to fire in very fast succession if you get good at it. It's going to take a little bit. This is the first time I've ever handled or played with one, but 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, bolt locks back, switch cylinders, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, bolt locks back, switch cylinders, and you can dump 15 rounds really, really fast. Now if we look at something like a KSG, boom, click, click, boom, click, click, boom, click, click, you guys get it, and then you switch from one side to the other that way. So if you're really good at counting under stress, and you think to switch tubes from one side to the other, a lot of people say like, oh, you could totally put like rubber pellets in one side and slugs in the other, or buckshot in one side, slugs in the other. I'm just running buck. Both sides are buckshot. 2 3/4 inch double aught buck. That's what I run. So yes, this is a pump action. Yes, I do trust this a hell of a lot more than I would trust this being semi-auto. However, if you got this to run 100%, I don't really see a reason why you couldn't, in theory, trust it. I personally would not. So for me, what's the point of having this? It's cool. That's the only answer I have for you. I think it's really cool. I really like shotguns. I really like bullpups. So price point on these guys is right around $1,200. Yeah, that's awesome. In the end, is it worth it? Do you like guns? I'd hope the answer is yes. If you like guns, then hell yeah, it's worth it. Whether you choose to implement this as a home defense gun or whatever, that's your prerogative, that's up to you. I personally wouldn't. What would I choose? Well, my bedside gun is this, or this, or an 870. I would choose a pump action shotgun over a semi-auto, even over the Benelli M4. Just simply for the fact that I trust myself more with a pump. I am good enough as a shotgunner that I'm not going to be short shucking rounds. Another thing to talk about on the KSG is if you don't practice with it and you don't really drive that round back, you are going to short shuck it and you're probably going to have problems. If you do have problems with it, it's typically user error. This foregrip is on here because my wife does not yank it to the back hard enough. And another thing is if you don't have your hand in the right spot, you will catch your skin and it hurts like hell on the KSG. The DP12, kind of not optional. You don't really have enough room to get your hand on there. And if you do, I'm not taking this off for this video, but it's not big enough of a groove here for my hand. Well, I take that back. It is, so I take that back, it is a big enough groove, but even with my hand as far forward as I can possibly go, really meaning it when I shuck my hand back, I do catch the side of my palm between there and there, and it hurts like hell. So I nixed that idea and went back to a vertical grip, just because, ouch. So again, of all these cool shotguns, and this one being super freaking sweet, really excited for range time with this, and Paul at Armory 42 has a Salvo 12. I'm going to go bug him today. This is going to be a lot of fun to shoot suppressed and really fast and just blow the crap out of things with it, but self-defense shotgun, I'm gonna say no. If you decide to do that, I wouldn't hold it against you. But at the same time, me personally, every single time I'm going with a pump. But that's just me. Do I think that this was a waste of money? Not at all. I love guns, I love shotguns. Above all else, I really, really love bullpups. Add all those together and I'm a really happy person. As you can tell, I pretty much have every bullpup that has ever existed. Both in shotgun and in general. So, overall, for $1,200, a very, very, very cool gun. And the way that things are going right now, not only in Washington State, Virginia, but just in the US in general, I think this would be a good 15 rounds of 2 3/4 inch or 3 inch should you decide to hate your shoulder slugs is nothing to joke about. You would have devastating amounts of power with this gun. Thank you to all of you out there who carry and carry religiously and carry with a round in the chamber, and more importantly, those of you who train. Gun-free zones to us do not exist for that exact reason. Love you guys, stay safe, be vigilant, and if you carry, please carry all the time, every single time, no matter where you're going, because as you saw, it saved a lot of lives.